I very clearly remember my first meeting as cadet commander of the Compton Composite Squadron when all you guys walked in your civvies. Everyone was coming in jeans and a t-shirt, and I had Levi Grossman and Josh Lambert there with me. And I expected them to hold my hand a little bit more. And I remember, you know, everyone was coming in. I'm like, oh my God, it's actually happening. I'm like starting, you know, like we're starting up here. This is something we've been planning for a while. And I remember like one of the first things I did is I asked Josh Lambert a question, like, what should I do? He's like, I don't know, dude, it's your squadron, not mine. I'm like, oh man, thanks. That's awesome. But of course he did it knowing that I would be, you know, needing to make these decisions on my own and going through it as a cadet commander. Not that he didn't want to help, he helped me immensely, but he knew at that point it was probably better not to give me an answer and just let me kind of jump in the deep end and figure it out. And so I remember that was a little bit of a terrifying moment when Josh Lambert, who had always been like a source of information throughout my time at the Milwaukee Composite Squadron, told me, it's your squadron, figure it out, dude. Like that was a little bit of a frightening moment, but definitely a memorable moment because I think we had an awesome couple of years from there so far.
Hello, all. My name is Second Lieutenant Giacomo Conde. Gosh, I haven't uttered those words in so long. So I was a member of the Colonel Compton Composite Squadron. I joined approximately 2 years ago. I want to say like the 9th of April, 2018. I could check that later. So yeah, I joined approximately 2 years ago when I was 16 years old. And it was definitely one of the best experiences of my life with the opportunities that came with Civil Patrol. More about me, I am a dually or a cadet fourth class at the United States Air Force Academy. Yeah, it's definitely a challenge, but it's definitely a good challenge. I'm making the most out of it. Some stories about Civil Air Patrol. So I actually, it's funny because I think he was supposed to join the call, but Cadet Goldbloom, I actually went to the first meeting with this random guy. I noted who he was at the time. And I remember thinking to myself that this guy is like probably, because he had like this like leather jacket on and some jeans. I thought this guy is probably a jerk. First impression right off the bat, thinking that, wow, this guy like, I gotta watch out, probably. Right, and so oh yeah. Sorry, remember just walked in. And I'm thinking like, wow. So, but actually, throughout the years, he's become one of my closest friends, and we've went to every CADET activity together since that meeting. So, we went to spring encampment, summer encampment, legislative day, all that stuff. It was definitely an awesome experience. And then another kind of story segment is that I attended Winter Raptor 3 and 4, which is the winter encampment it's like a joint encampment for the Washington/Alaska wing. There's like 150 some cadets there. And I actually got to meet another close friend of mine who's actually here at the Air Force Academy right now, C4C Samuel Mathis. He's somewhere over in Squadron 18. So, but we went to that encampment. We were both, at the time, we went to, I remember the first encampment, Winter Raptor 3, we were both class cadets, which means we were like in the advanced encampment essentially. And I remember having some good old times of just shooting rockets and just getting to know each other pretty well, and just getting to know the flight really well and get to meet a lot of cool people. Then the second time around in Winter Raptor 4, we were both flight commanders at the same encampment. And that was definitely an awesome experience, just coming back to awesome coast of Oregon and having a good old time. So yeah, that's me. Yeah.
My name is Cadet Major Eric Lechleitner. I am a freshman at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, Prescott, Arizona, studying nothing aeronautical related. I am a global security and intelligence studies major. We call ourselves Jesus majors. That's what it stands for. And sometimes we have a little too much of a God complex. It's a really amazing major, and I won't talk too much about it, but if anyone is interested in government, international relations, security, military, anything, message me and I can kind of give you some more information about it because it's not a very well-known major. I was in CAP for 3.5 years before coming out here. Joined my freshman year of high school. And in that time, I was able to attend a few spring encampments. I'm supposed to be deputy commander this last one, along with actually the commander and other deputy commander of that encampment are also in this call. Rest in peace, spring encampment 2020. I was able to attend cadet officer school at Maxwell Air Force Base in the summer of 2019, where I spent 2 weeks training, doing a lot of really cool leadership exercises, and I still talk to a lot of the people I met there. A little later on, earlier this year, right before the COVID outbreak began, I spent a week in Washington, D.C. At the Civic Leadership Academy, where myself and 19 other cadets from around the country were chosen for kind of a really high intensity government and just civic kind of engagement type activity, where I was able to meet with a lot of members of government. We were able to go into the Pentagon. We met the head of the Army. We met the head of the Navy, head of the Marines. We didn't meet General Goldfein, who was the 4-star in charge of the Air Force at the time, but really cool experiences. And went into the CIA, toured the CIA, and that got me interested in the major and the school where I'm at today. And now I'm here, studying all sorts of cool stuff, working in student government. I work as a dispatcher. So yeah, CAP has been really cool, brought me to where I am today.
My name is Cadet Major Parker Woods. I joined CAP when I was 14 years old, and I was a member of the, or still am a member of the Lewis Composite Squadron. I've been in CAP for a very long time, and it's done wonders for me. I've really enjoyed my experience in it. It's actually how I met Cadets Lechleitner, Norber, Conde, and Goldbloom. Unfortunately, they're not in the call. And we're all good friends because of CAP, and we talk to each other all the time because of this program. And some of the things I've done, I've gone to Johnson Flight Academy, a bunch of spring encampments, cadet officer school, and PJOC, and all of them have been amazing experiences. I've met amazing people that are doing incredible things. I've met a couple people that are going to the Air Force Academy with Giacomo, and I've met a couple people who are going to Embry-Riddle with Eric. So it is a wonderful, really good time. I went in 2017, and I went to the powered encampment they had there, and I was able to get 10 hours over there. I didn't solo because of weather, but a lot of cadets who go there get to solo, and it's a really awesome experience, especially for your initial flight training. Those Civil Air Patrol senior member instructors, they are really good people, and they really know what they're doing with flying, and they are awesome people to learn from. They're probably going to be the best flight instructors you will ever have, and it's a really amazing experience there. And just like all the other NCSAs, you meet cadets from all around the country, and it's a really cool thing to do. I really enjoyed it. It was a week long down at Eastern Illinois University.
The level of instruction you're going to get at Johnson Flight Academy is just exceptional. Like, not only financially are you going to be saving an insane amount of money on the first 10 hours of your flight training, but, you know, even aside from that, the fact that it's fully immersive, you know, for a week you are surrounded by your flight instructors and fellow flight students. And you're just surrounded by a lot of people that are, you know, like when you go to a CAP event, you know, regardless of what sector of our program it's a part of, and you're just surrounded by people who are all striving for excellence in that, you know, mission. That's definitely what you'll find at Johnson Flight Academy. You'll find a lot of other cadets who are passionate enough about flight training to go down to the JFA. And so you'll just be fully immersed in like a whole lot of awesomeness is kind of how I'll leave it out as. And I went as a powered student, and I did my first solo there in summer of 2018, and that's actually where I was screened and selected for the Cadet Wings program. And then I went back in summer of 2019 as staff to help work the glider flight line with Major Jackie Lefebvre.
So legislative day, basically, so as you know, CAP is a government-funded program, and so we have to basically argue for, well, argue is a strong word. I would just say advocate for our funding basically each year. And so instead of sending a big panel of senior members, which is probably the smarter idea, actually no, I'm just kidding. They send some really awesome cadets out there to represent each wing and talk to each of the state representatives and each government official of that state, whether it be representatives or senators, and talk to them about why CAP should get X amount of funding. And it's well, beyond the actual experience of walking the hill and going to these huge offices with these like tall doors. I mean, it's a really good experience just to get close with your friends in CAP, and to also just experience or just talk to like get to know other people from different wings. Because I remember we were waiting down in the lobby of some seminar building, and we saw all these kids, and we're like, wow, this is like a popping place for all these teenagers. I thought that there's like some other stuff going on. No, they're all CAP cadets. I was like, wow. So we all met, we all got along, and we all talked, and it was a great time. And also we got some pretty decent food. So
I went in 2019, or wait, I'm sorry, 2018. And we pretty much did everything Giacomo was talking about. We got to walk the hill, and we got to go to the House office buildings and speak with members of Congress about how like what Civil Air Patrol does and the things we do and why we think we should get some money. And, it was really cool seeing people that you see on the news all the time in person and speaking to them. I thought it was an amazing experience, and getting the chance to advocate for a program that has done so much for me, I felt that is a really rewarding experience. All of the cadets that I went with, I'm still in touch with them, and I saw some other cadets there from other wings that I went to there, and from Cadet Advisory Council, they were there as well. That was real. I'd say the thing CAP has done for most, more than any awesome people from like all across the country. It's really amazing. If you stick with this program and get to the higher ranks and do all of these activities, it's really rewarding for you. It's a lot of good stuff to put on the resume.
The intensity of legislative day was definitely something that surprised me. Like once we got to, the Senate and House of Representatives, like we had very little time between meetings, and we had to fill out debrief forms. We had to prepare for the next meetings. We had these files with information on the representatives that we'd be meeting with, and their background and their education and what their interests were. And so we'd kind of tailor each meeting to, exactly what we thought they would be interested in hearing. And so it was definitely like a fast-paced day, but it was a ton of fun, and it just flew by. And also going on, the huge road trip with a bunch of cadets. Like obviously, legislative day itself, when you get there, it's a very formal event. Once you're meeting with representatives and trying to advocate for CAP funding, but for the rest of the time, it's almost as if you're just there with a bunch of, fellow teenagers and some adult supervisors having an awesome time in DC. You really get to drop the formalities and get to know people on a different level when you're on your 20-hour van ride there and while you're kind of touring DC and everything like that. So it's a really awesome combination of like, throwing on the uniform, getting all formal, getting all official, and putting your best foot forward, and then also taking it off and throwing on a pair of shorts and just watching a movie or hanging out with a bunch of people. So it was definitely an awesome time. I'm really glad I went.
So encampments are, either 4 or 7 day, like high intensity training events where in a super short amount of time, you're going to learn just about everything in the kind of the basics of the cadet program. We're going to incorporate physical fitness. We're going to incorporate aerospace education, kind of that military orientation. You're going to get a lot of leadership exposure, kind of with teamwork and TLPs, and there's a good amount of character development, I'd say, indirectly. And there's some smaller session through debriefs and whatnot, but just with working with your team and whatnot, it's going to be a really great experience. And I've experienced encampment as a basic, a flight sergeant, a flight commander, and I experienced, you know, everything but the encampment as a deputy commander. So I've had a lot of exposure to it, and I can say it's definitely one of my favorite parts of Civil Air Patrol. I really enjoyed it as a student, and I had a lot more fun, in my opinion, as a you know, cadre. Not because, you know, I wasn't getting yelled at or whatnot, but because I was kind of able to teach and you know, kind of see my flight. I think McCoy is here. Yeah, there you are. McCoy was my honor cadet in 2019. Yeah, Echo Flight. There we are. Best flight. So yeah, a lot of fun. And yeah, really good experience. Highly suggest everyone goes as soon as possible.
So I've been to around 5 encampments, I think. Yeah, so it's been it's been a lot. I went to summer encampment Illinois 2018, spring 2019, summer. I did everything, man. I did everything. I did all the encampments. And then I also did I mentioned this before, but I did the Alaska/Washington/Oregon winter encampment up in Oregon. And then I also did King of the Rock, which is like a little camping competition against different squadrons in the area. I think okay, so if I were to pick an experience that was probably like my favorite, besides the winter encampment, which is probably my favorite, I definitely enjoy King of the Rock. I got to be deputy commander with Cadet Goldbloom. Which actually should be in the call right now, which he texted me, but he is not in the call. So what a faker. Probably my best experience I had with that was actually during night watch. And it was like, I think 2 a.m. And we got to, basically me and another kid, I got to sit around a campfire at 2 a.m. just kind of admire the nature. Because we were next to a lake. And it was very beautiful outside, and it was an amazing. It was a religious experience going out there, and plus like it was a lot of fun things we did out there. We did a cooking competition. We did like a little course, meet, I guess. It was very, very odd. We did like, so different squadrons had different, like, I guess different types of food, and we got to compete to see who made the best food out of like nothing, basically. Like it was like you got like a can of beans and like some saffron was brought. Like it was random, and it was a heck of a lot of fun. We got to theme our dinners like with different like the decorations and stuff. So it was a good time. So that was my favorite encampment, at least. Yeah, so basically it's like summer encampment, but it's in the winter, you know. I mean, it's really that simple, but there are different experiences you get in winter encampment. At least for me, getting to go to different I guess region, actually, since it's like 3 wings essentially. It's a good experience to meet new people, like I said before with leg day. And we got to actually, we got to use a lot of our issued items that we couldn't use back in home because it was so cold up there. So we got to use our Gore-Tex and our fleece. But definitely, I think one of the better experiences that we had was getting to launch our rockets. And we actually went up to the coast to do that. And we went up the coast of Oregon. It's like basically, it's almost Canada. It's right there. And we had to shoot rockets, essentially. And I think it was like around like the evening. And it was just a fun experience overall. So definitely recommend it. Went to Raptor 5 now. It's crazy.
PJOC stands for the Pararescue Survival Orientation Course, and they have it in 2 states. They have it in Arizona over at Davis Monthan Air Force Base in Tucson, and They have it at Kirtland Air Force Base in New Mexico. And what it is a 9-day course for CAP cadets to learn about what it's like to be a PJ or a SEER specialist in the Air Force. And unlike any other CAP event, you're not getting trained by like higher ranking cadets or senior members. You're getting trained exclusively by Air Force personnel. So that's a little bit of a culture shock, I must say, being like just a 16-year-old kid getting yelled at by a 6'6", 250-pound pararescueman that's super buff and is in your face. That was something else. It was really amazing. And learning how to like make a tent out of a parachute, learning how to like build a fire in the middle of the desert, and learning how to make a ton of things out of nothing. It was an amazing experience. And if you really want to see what you're made of, go to PJOC. It's something that, like they say, when you go to basic training and they tear you apart and build you back up, that's definitely the closest you'll get to experiencing that in CAP. Very, very high intensity, but very rewarding course to attend, without a doubt.
Mentorship is incredibly important in CAP, and there's this huge emphasis on like a structured chain of command that we have within our program. We emulate the military and the Air Force in this chain of command and formalities in terms of relationships with people who are more experienced with you. But one of the things that's really awesome about people in the Civil Air Patrol program that I've realized is they know when to use those formalities and when to use that structured hierarchy, but also when to just kind of ignore it and speak human to human and mentor someone through and kind of initiate almost like a different relationship. Like, I'm no longer speaking to my flight commander. Obviously they're a higher ranking cadet and I'm going to address them with that respect, but it's almost like I'm not speaking to my flight commander anymore. I'm just speaking to a more experienced cadet who has my back here, like a sort of wingman that now becomes a mentor. And I think that not only would I attribute my successes in the Civil Air Patrol Cadet Program to the mentors that I've met along the way in CAP, but honestly, who I am today as a human being, I think that a lot of that comes down to the mentorship I received in Civil Air Patrol, both from cadets, namely Levi Grossman, who I'm sure you've all heard of. When I joined, he was like a, brace for it, he was a cadet senior airman when I first joined, way back in the day. And I remember my first meeting in uniform, he was a staff sergeant. And so the way it worked as we progressed through the cadet program is he was always one phase above me. And so, when I was learning how to become a cadet, he was learning how to teach cadets. And then when I became a sergeant, he became a lieutenant. And so when I was learning how to teach cadets, he was learning how to teach lines hands-on instructors. And when I became a lieutenant, he became a captain. And as I was learning to take a step back, he was learning to take a bigger step back. So it really worked out like that, which is really awesome. Of course, couldn't say enough about Major Gillingham and Chaplain Grossman, of course, as mentors, and Colonel Dempsey, and the people you meet along the way in CAP. Once you get to know them on a certain level, and it's not that they drop their rank. They're still a commanding officer. They're still have that level on the hierarchy. But then once you start working with someone in a certain capacity, and it becomes less relevant, and it's less of I'm addressing my squadron commander, more I'm addressing a senior CAP officer who has my back on this, then you're going to learn just an incredible amount. And also, aside from CAP, I worked with David Marquez, as a lot of who I was able to reach that level of relationship with him. So yeah, the mentorship that I've received in this program, I definitely would attribute that towards kind of making me not only the cadet I became, but the person I became too. So can't speak to that enough.
Definitely, I have to attribute most of my mentorship to actually Rabbi Grossman. He's definitely been along my journey in CAP and even through now in the Air Force Academy. We actually had a conversation last night about my future goals beyond the academy. So it was a very awesome conversation I had with him last night. But definitely, I will agree with Rory on everything he mentioned. Mentorship is critical in your journey throughout CAP and also throughout life. It's really good to have that person to always just to know that, man, like they've been through this probably, so they have the answers, they have or some kind of idea of what to do here. So it's good to have that person whether it be, your family or your friends, or of course someone in CAP. It's definitely good to have that mentor in your life, just kind of guide you whenever you don't know which way to go. Yeah, but definitely. I also kind of want to attribute my what one of my mentors actually to be Rory. Actually, he kind of mentored me a little bit in the very early stages of me being in CAP. Definitely had to thank him for a lot of my success then and also now, because he's definitely helped me become the person I am today. But besides that, I don't think I can think of any more mentors. At least not yet. I mean, I have one more now. He's assigned to me. He's my coach, C3C Jared Barney. So yeah, he's my coach. He kind of comes in here every now and then just to check up on me and make sure I'm doing what I am supposed to be doing. And yeah, so those are my mentors.
Sweet. With mentorship in the CAP program, when I first started, I would say pretty much the people who were there when I first started CAP were pretty much all I had, because they're my only lens into CAP. The cadets who were at the squadron at the time was a cadet staff sergeant, and his name was Cadet Smith. And then there was another cadet staff sergeant named Cadet McEnany, and those two cadets, they ran the squadron when I first joined, and they taught me everything about CAP. And they taught me how to sign up for like all the activities and encampments. And the first thing they said to me when I joined was, if you just go to these meetings, you won't last 6 months. The way that you can stay in CAP, and the only way you're going to be able to, is by going to these outside activities and networking and meeting with other people. And I didn't really like understand what they meant, but I was like, okay, so I'll just do that. And like a month into joining CAP, I went to spring encampment in 2015 and met a ton of people, and just experiencing like everyone developing and growing alongside of you, and seeing the people who are leading you, like leading by example, it helps you develop yourself into a much better person. And as I progressed through the CAP cadet program, some of my mentors have been Levy. Even though I never saw him a lot, every time I went to an activity with him, he was someone that always guided me in the right direction. Same thing with Rowie. Even though we were the same rank for most of our time in CAP, well, we are right now, he's always been a mentor to me, especially with like cadet wings and going through spring encampment. When I got selected to be the cadet commander of spring encampment, I was talking to him almost every week about things I should do, things that he experienced while being cadet commander, and how to address the problems that are specific to spring. And in many like youth programs that you see now these days, like I just don't, where else does that happen? Like, like you build up this networking and you meet these amazing people, and they go off to do such great things in the world. And I don't know, I didn't anything else. I was just a cap cadet and played high school sports. And the most like amazing people I've met in this world so far have been like through CAP, maybe not like cap cadets, but I've met them through CAP. And yeah, it's just really cool and amazing.
So I'd say that my biggest mentors throughout my time in Civil Air Patrol, and even now, would be my brother and, you guessed it, Levy. He really gets around. But Levy definitely got me through some difficult times, and he was the one who got me into the program in the first place. And then once he moved along, Rowie became my new mentor after that. And he kind of just taught me the ropes and showed me how to be a decent person and get things done and, take care of my people, learn how to be a leader. And obviously on the senior side of things, it was Chaplain Grossman and Major Gillingham. guiding me along, making sure I wasn't getting too cocky or anything like that, giving me the checks. And it definitely, it's something that transfers onto now. I mean, I still talk to Rowie, I still talk to Levi. I got the opportunity when I was picking up my Earhart Award right before I came to college to kind of reconnect with Major Gillingham, which was really, really nice. And I am pretty much constantly in contact with Chaplain Grossman and Levi as well. And they definitely still provide me a lot of feedback and mentorship that gets me through. You know, it's not easy. College is college, and Air Force ROTC, and whatever else I might take as an extracurricular on the side. And it's definitely something I really value, and I'm grateful for. So thank you guys.
I have to say that, you know, the one mentor that was by my side every second, quite literally, because we were in very close physical proximity, was my brother Roy. And it was really great to have an older brother who joined CAP about a year or something before I did, because everything that I had to go through in CAP, I knew someone who had gone through it before me. And in fact, that person was my brother. And I think that that was really helpful to be able to sit down with him during those tough situations and ask him just like, how did you handle this? What was different about this when you were in this situation? And he would guide me through it, even if there were things that were difficult. One big thing that he really helped me with was being a cadet commander. That's not something that's easy to prepare for. And I was able to observe my brother and work very closely to him while he was cadet commander of the Compton Squadron. And when I took command, I started to try to figure out, you know, how he could help me, how I could use him as a resource. And I came to the conclusion that our positions as cadet commander were very different, because when Rory was cadet commander, he was starting a squadron and he had to deal with the Great Start program and with all the new people. Training them, getting them used to CAP, building a squadron from nothing. And when I was cadet commander, a lot of the problems or challenges that we faced had more to do with retention and keeping people engaged and getting them to go to activities even when they were already trained active CAP members. So to be able to sit down and work with those differences and have things be just different enough for it to still be my own experience, but to have those people to rely on. Of course, Levi Grossman, huge mentor. I've known him since I became a cadet. Always a great person to contextualize things into a greater CAP experience and provide great advice. Rabbi Grossman, Major Gillingham on the senior side of things. And also Parker has been a pretty good mentor for me. We served on Cadet Advisory Council together. And I think that has been a great experience.
I'm Cadet Major Connor McGuire. I'm the current cadet commander of this squadron. So I'm not yet an alum. And I joined at the beginning of the squadron. I was one of the founding 11 members. I don't know how many there was. But I was one of the founding members of this squadron. And I started out not a good cadet. Like even 6 months after I joined, which is when I went to encampment. I went to Indiana and I went back there last year as a flight commander, and they're like, and a good chunk of the people were the same people then that were there last year. They attended both of them, and they're like, how are you the same person? I had so many good mentors that they show you the way, and they do it in a way, like, first and foremost, obviously, Cadet Roy and Jonathan Norber, as they were the first and second cadet commanders, among other things. But also, as far as I'm learning to fly, and every once in a while, I'll send Roy a text and ask, is this? I don't know. It's like something, little text. And of course, I'll also go to Major Gillingham on that. But it's having somebody else who's gone through it before and has successfully done it is an amazing tool to have. And of course, the chaplain is I think this is why he made us all speak on this secretly, because he just wants all the praise, but it's well deserved. He is he is an amazing leader, both spiritually and as far as leadership goes. He's a good mentor. So if you need something, if you don't know what to do, always reach out to him. He will 99.99% of the time return to you very quickly and point you in the right way. Not in the easy way, but the right way. And it'll be hard and you'll hate it, but you'll be much better because of it. Yeah, I've also had a good number of mentors over the years from various different encampments. And of course, you're not going to believe this, but Levi Grossman, also one of my mentors. He really gets around. Yeah, and CAP has so many different mentors because it has so many different members. And those members all come from different backgrounds, but we all have one common goal. And so you get these so many different views from how you can do something from these so many different people. So if you have a mentor, or if there's a possible mentor that's there and you don't click completely with them, there is 9 people who are close to them but are more kin to you. And it's just, CAP, if you want a mentor, you can find a mentor quite easily. And they're good mentors. These are mentors that, in many cases, even if they were paid, you wouldn't be able to buy the mentorship that you can get. Just, yeah. Mentorship in CAP is top notch, and it's useful for, yeah, the rest of your life.